Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and the video series of ADO.NET using C# language. In the last video we saw how do we connect the ADO.NET with the MS SQL database, and this is my connection strings. The name of the connection string is mycon, and I have attached a database softcore DB with the mycon, and we write a code that inserts the data in the softcore DB table employee with the values entered by the user in the text boxes. So this is the code. Now in this video we will see how do we display the records in ASP.NET. First of all, we will start with the SQL Management Studio. In SQL we have our database softcore DB. In softcore DB there is a one table employee. Just click on connect. Now this is my databases softcore DB, and we have a table employee. Right click, edit top 200 rows, so it will display the records. Now this is my 1001 employee ID, employee name, employee salary and employee department. Now in this video we will see how do we display this record on the ASP.NET web form. So let us start with the ASP.NET. Now we first create a web form. So just right click on website, add new item, then select a web form. Then this is my web form to display the record, display data, and add it. Now just remove this division tag, write a center tag so that the output will be in center. Go to the switch to the design options. Okay. Now in ASP.NET to display the record we have two options. There are two options in ASP.NET. First, we can use connected architecture. Connected architecture. So for connected architecture, we will use a class SQL command and SQL data reader. These are the two classes that are basically used to display the records or to retrieve the result using a connected architecture. And then second is your disconnected architecture. Disconnected architecture is there. And for this we use SQL data adapter, and second is the data set. So these are the classes that are used for connected architecture, and SQL data adapter, data set is used for disconnected architecture. And to establish a connection, whether it is connected or disconnected architecture, to establish the connection we use SQL connection object in both the architecture. SQL connection is a class which is common for connected and disconnected architecture. So basically these are the classes that are used for connected and disconnected architecture. Now what do you mean by connected architecture? So suppose we have a table. In database we have a table. This is my employee table, and there is a one.aspx page, that means we have a web form, and this aspx page has sent a request to access this table, right? So using ADO.NET we can access this table in ASP.NET. So what the connected architecture says, if one of the user or one of the page is busy with the table, the other, suppose this is my page 1.aspx, now I am using page 2.aspx. Now suppose this employee table is busy with page 1.aspx, so connected, since this page is connected with the employee table, therefore the other page or the other user, right, is not able to query the same table at the same time. So this is your connected architecture. So now this architecture is best for Windows form application, right? That means in Windows form application we have only a single administrator, admin, who can access this table. There are no multiple users in Windows form application, therefore the connected architecture is specially designed for Windows form application. In case of disconnected architecture, we can query the table. On single table, multiple users can access the data at the same time. Like in web application, right, we have a web application. In web application, at the same time multiple users can log in. So this is a basic difference between connected and disconnected architecture. So now first of all we will see how do we use the connected architecture and to display the records on the web form. So for connected architecture, right, we will first design a web form to display the records. To display the records from the database table, we have different data controls are there. All the data controls are found in data tab. These are the data controls. The one of the most important data control is your grid view. So just drag and drop this grid view. Now as we can see here, grid view is one of the data control that is used to display multiple records from the database. Grid view has a column and a number of rows. Then we can change the format of this grid view. Just click on this arrow, auto format. There are many formats of this grid view. You can select any of the format so that we can display data in a proper layout. There are many formats. Now I am taking a colorful. We can increase the size of this grid view using this arrow, these dots. So now this is my grid view. Now I will take a button. On the clicking of this button, we will display a record. Now go to the property of this button, right click, properties. Now I am changing the ID of the button btn1 and just give some borders to the button. And then display data. Now this is my design. In this we have a grid view. The ID of the default ID is grid view 1 and the button ID is btn. Now double click on this button. This is my code window. Now for ASP.NET or ADO.NET connectivity, we use the namespaces. Using first namespace is system.data, then second is you are using system.data.SQL client, and then using system.configuration. configuration. These are the three namespaces. Now on the clicking of button, we start with the code try and then catch exception ex, and this response dot write ex dot message. This is my error message. Now we first start with the SQL connection. We establish the connection with the database. New SQL connection. So now for connection we require a URL or a path. First we define a path variable, and since the path is defined in web.config, right, with the name mycon is the name of my path, so we have to access this web.config file. For that we will use configuration manager. Just search for the configuration manager. Okay, this is my configuration manager dot connection strings, and name of my connection string is mycon, and we will convert this connection string into string form. Now this is my path. Now I will send a path as a parameter, first parameter, then username, and then password. Just pass the path. So in mycon, we have our database attached. The name of my database is your soft code. Then using this connection object, we open the connection with the database. And after the display process, we will close the connection. Now this is the code to establish the connection with the MS SQL database. Now we write a query, string query, the query select star from employee table. So make sure the name of the table is same as the table created in the MS SQL employee. Now we will create a SQL command object so that we can execute the query. cmd equals to new SQL command, and then in this we have to give a query and then connection object. There are two parameters of SQL command object. Now next we will execute the query cmd dot execute. Now in this time, the last video we call the SQL command class method execute non-query. Why we are calling this execute non-query? Because in this case we are inserting the values. That means from the database we are not getting any data. We simply send the data from the ASP.NET to the database. Therefore we are calling here execute non-query. But this time the query is select star from employee. Therefore this query will return the result. तो therefore हम लोग यूज करेंगे SQL data reader class dr equals to and cmd dot execute reader. So this is a method, right? cmd dot execute reader. This will read all the records from the employee table, and all the records will be stored in dr, that is your SQL data reader object. So this is the basic difference between the previous code and this display code. All the data is in the dr. So now we will start with the grid view 1. Data source. Data source is one of the property of grid view 1. The source of data, that means the source of data in the grid view. So dr has the all the data, therefore equals to dr. And now we will write grid view 1 dot data bind. We will bind with the dr. These are the two lines that are applied on the grid view. First we specify the source of data that will be displayed on grid view, So the data is coming from the dr, therefore we are passing here dr, and we will bind the grid view with the dr. So once we bind the dr with the grid view, it will display all the records from the dr on the grid view, and at the end we will close my data reader object. So now this is a code that is basically used to display the records on the web form using a connected architecture. Now just save all, right click, view in browser. Now it will start with the ASP.NET server. Just wait for some time. Display record. This is my web form. Now just click on this display data. It is displaying a 1001 Raj 10,008. Now this is my record. Now just again execute this employee registration page, and I am trying to insert one more record, 1002, employee name, salary 12,000, in department CS. So now I have inserted a new record, and just refresh this page, we can see the second record is also displayed. So in this way, using a connected architecture, we can display a record on the grid. This is all about the basic select star from employee query using a connected architecture. I hope you understood this session. Thank you so much.